Hello and welcome to Clevy News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, Army Finance Corps Conference opens in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State with more calls for better funding of the Nigerian military. Ahead of the November 16 governorship polls in Bayelsa and Kogi states, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) meets with political parties in Abuja. More details emerge on the demise of world's most wanted terrorist Abubakar al-Baghdadi. I am Prudence Sokona with the details of these and more stories. The chairman Senate Committee on Army, Senator Ali Ndume, has expressed deep concern over what he described as the poor funding of the Nigerian Army. Speaking with newsmen on the sidelines of the 12th Biennial Training Conference of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, Ndume called for better funding of the Army to enable it to effectively play its role of protecting the territorial integrity of the country. Our correspondent now completes the story.
The biennial training conference with the theme Expanding Roles of the Nigerian Army in Internal Security Operations, Funding Imperatives is being attended by personnel drawn from the various divisions of the Nigerian Army Finance Corps as the funding of the nation's military came up for scrutiny in relation to the challenges of meeting its constitutional mandate. Not a few Nigerians with deep knowledge of the country's military requirements are satisfied with the present state of its funding. One of them is the Chairman Senate Committee on Army, Senator Ali Ndume. Ndume strongly believes that the time has come for both the executive and legislature to work with a common purpose of ensuring better funding for the nation's military.
In fact, I was shocked when the Nigerian Army came for budget defense, and we discovered that their capital releases have not a kobo was released to them from their capital, the amount appropriated for capital, and for 2019, except 1 week ago or thereabout, a token amount of 7 billion was released to them out of their budget that was cut down from 63 to even 14. So even that 14 billion that for is meant for capital project, only 7 billion so far have been released to them. I was wondering how the Nigerian Army was coping with this war and so many challenges that they have in various fronts.
The Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Army, Abdul Razak Namdas, also holds the same view that the Army's budget be reviewed upwards.
This budgetary thing can never fund war things. We need to go out of the box. So we are already having that. And if you see a scenario where army has expanded from 5 division to 8 divisions, three new divisions, and the role of the army has even extended to internal security, it is just obvious that you require more funding. There is no two ways about it. You cannot do it without getting fund.
In the same vein, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Yusuf Buratai, has called for collaborations to enhance the operations of the Army. The Army Chief, who was represented by the GOC 6th Division Major General Jamil Shaham, said that during a courtesy visit to Governor Udom Emmanuel by the Nigerian Army Finance Corps as part of their conference activities.
So we are seeking collaboration and then finding new ways to see how we can attract funding from the Nigerian Army.
In his remarks, Governor Udom Emmanuel, who noted the critical role of the Army in building, pledged his administration's readiness to offer support when needed, noting that security is everyone's business.
No matter what, we are feeling the impact of peace, not only in Akwa Ibom, in the entire region. In the entire South region, we are feeling that impact of peace. I also want to believe recommendations that will come out of this conference, areas that we need to partner, we'll also discuss, not just with the Nigerian Army. Whatever affects Nigerian Army will also affect other armed forces. So we'll see how we can also work together.
A communique is expected at the end of the technical sessions, where conference participants are to reappraise funding of the Army to improve its performance.
And still talking about funding of the military, The Chief of Defense Staff, General Bayomi Olunishakin, says no efforts will be spared in ensuring proper equipping of the various arms of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Addressing participants at this year's counter-terrorism exercise of the Nigerian Air Force in Kaduna, General Olunishakin assured all military personnel of government's determination to motivate them with requisite training to boost their morale at all times. As our correspondent now tells us, the training exercise was for officers and men of the Air Force Special Operations Command.
To achieve success in combat operations, General Abayomi Olonishakin says the Nigerian Air Force is set to train its personnel by ensuring that they constantly engage in exercises involving lessons and tactics in counter-terrorism operations.
What we have witnessed today is a testimony to the commitment of the Nigerian Air Force to continuously develop its capabilities in the conduct of counter-terrorism, counter-insurgency operations, contain banditry, safeguard Nigerian Air Force assets, as well as confront other security challenges in all parts of the country.
For the Chief of Staff, Sadiq Abubakar, the Nigerian Air Force will continue to collaborate with other security operatives to defend the nation's territorial integrity.
From now to January 2020, the Nigerian Air Force has put together a number of these exercises that will be conducted in different parts of the country. And the whole idea is for us to be able to understand and provide answers to some very critical questions.
It is our hope that this exercise will go a long way in further developing our personal capacity, professionalism, and combat readiness as we continue to battle for insecurity in our areas.
Conceptualized by the Chief of Air Staff, Operation Nazu is aimed at enhancing the operational capacity of the Nigerian military in counter-terrorism combat, as well as checking growing cases of banditry and other forms of criminality across different parts of the country.
And the unidentified gunmen on Monday kidnapped the vice rector of the Queen of Apostles Spiritual Year Seminary, Reverend Father Arinze Madu. Father Madu, according to reports, was seized at the gates of the institution on Monday in Imeziowa in Eziagu local government area of Enugu State. The incident was also confirmed by the Director of Communications, Enugu Catholic Diocese, Reverend Father Benjamin Achi. The abduction of Catholic priests has become rampant in southeast Nigeria as the latest kidnapping adds to a growing list of abductions. In March, Father Clement Ugu of the St. Mark Catholic Church, Obinofia, Ndiuno in Izago local government area of Enugu State, was kidnapped in his house and was later found dead. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has constituted a 17-man committee to investigate how 41,448 workers and pensioners in the state's payroll do not possess the bank verification number BVN. The 17-man committee is to be chaired by Senator Adamu Gumba. The senior special assistant media to the governor, Mukhtar Gidado, made this known in Bauchi while interacting with newsmen. The terms of reference of the committee is to, amongst other things, ascertain if those who are being paid are bona fide staff and pensioners of the state government and why they are being paid without possessing the BVN. Other terms of reference is to ascertain bank and government officials who may have participated in any infraction in payment of state funds to persons who may be ghost workers and recommend sanctions against them. The top-ranking members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, are set to meet Senate President Ahmed Lawan and Femi Gbajabiamila, Speaker, House of Representatives, behind closed doors today. The purpose of the meeting is to negotiate the federal government's directive concerning the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPIS. Recall that President Muhammad Buhari, while presenting the 2020 budget to National Assembly on the 8th of October 2019, issued a directive mandating all public sector workers to register for IPPIS in order to block all leakages in salary payment structure, thereby waging a war against corruption. ASU seems to be unhappy with the directive as they kicked vehemently against this new policy. They see the IPPIS payment structure as a threat to autonomy, the law governing universities. Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, had instructed all government agencies to abide by the new IPPIS payment policy. You're watching Clearview Television News. We'll be back for more after this time out.
The Nigerian police force, through the dogged efforts of the Inspector General of Police, IG Mohammed A. Adamu, in a bid to combat the high rate of criminality and criminal elements, kidnappers, domestic offenders, violence, cultism, rape, robbery, amongst so many others, has launched the Police VGS mobile app. The Police VGS mobile app is a web-based dispatch system for quick emergency reporting of incidents by citizens for the prompt response by the Nigerian police, other emergency and security agencies. Within 5 seconds of reporting, the appropriate government security or emergency agencies will be alerted and help will be deployed immediately. If you find yourself in a situation where your life or the life of another is threatened, such as kidnap, rape, robbery, road accidents, fire incidents, medical emergencies, natural disasters, or any attempt on your life or the life of a fellow Nigerian, all you need to do is to silently swipe the Police VGS app on your mobile phone. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be sent your way promptly. This is particularly handy in case of kidnap on the highway, roadside, one chance, or case of robbery or any communal unrest whatsoever. All a victim needs to do is just to swipe the app on a phone, either as a victim or an observer. Policemen will be alerted immediately and will be deployed for appropriate intervention. Apart from reporting emergencies, the app also has a unique features such as Escort Me. Once this app is activated, the police force and other security agencies will receive the coordinates of the dispatcher of the distress. Either on the highway or within the city, a user can also report incidents, the eyewitness feature on the app. The mobile app is available for all Nigerians on the iOS and the Google Play Store platforms. Android or iOS phone became Police VGS Mobile Reporter. As soon as a subscription to the Police VGS app is made, the Nigerian police will be on hand to attend to incident reporters in a matter of seconds. Swipe to safety. Terms and condition apply. Always remember, the police is your friend. This message is brought to you courtesy of the Office of the Force PRO.
Hey, my guy, how far now? I say make I remind you say say tomorrow na tomorrow we won't go mess up show. Na tomorrow we won't go destroy everywhere. Come stay hot today, everything will dey scatter everywhere, I swear.
Solo. So you are planning to disrupt election and steal ballot. How much did chief pay you to do this thing you are doing? How much? Tell me.
Millions, dollars.
Millions, dollars compared to your life. Solomon. Chief has 3 children. Solo, 3 good children. Shegun is in Canada. Ola is in Australia. Sheyi is in the US. Why did Chief give his children the millions to do what you are about to do?
Of course, Chief is wise. His children, not you, deserve every protection. Be wise.
You're welcome back and moving on. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has met with political parties in Abuja ahead of the Kogi Bayelsa governorship elections, along the Kogi West senatorial by-election and Bayelsa by-election as well. The meeting, which is held quarterly, is in preparations towards the Kogi and Bayelsa governorship elections, slated to be held on the 16th of November 2019. The meeting is also expected to review the performances of political parties during the elections and provide solutions to issues raised. Clevy TV's correspondent Anieti Patrick was there and now reports.
It will be recalled that there had been some agitations among political parties about the call to scrap political parties that failed to elect at least a candidate during the last elections. Chairman of the commission, Yakubu Mahmoud, while explaining the decision to combine the senatorial rerun in Kogi and by-election in Bayelsa State, said it is more economical.
As a stand-alone election, the senatorial district election in 7 local government areas would have cost the nation well over 300 million naira. We have to get ad hoc staff, make arrangement for transportation, accredit observers, political parties. There will also be cost on the part of the political parties and others. But because we are combining the election with the governorship election, it's going to cost the nation less than 10 million naira instead of over 300 million naira. So the commission decided to combine the two elections to save cost and for convenience. The commission will make available detailed figures of PVCs collected in each state, broken down by local government and registration areas in order to deepen transparency and accountability. Copies will be given to the stakeholders at the next stakeholders meeting that we are going to convene in Enagoa and Lokoja, in addition to uploading the information on our website. I will come back to this stakeholders meeting that we are going to convene in Yenagoa and Lokoja.
Also, the president in Council Inter-Party Advisory Council, Peter Ahmed, called on stakeholders to evolve laws that will assist INEC's independence in conducting elections. Ahmed, however, commends the electoral umpire's efforts as he highlights the campaigns being carried out by IPAC in its advocacy against electoral violence.
For us as members of the council, one of the things that we continue to fight for is that a credible and level playing field is created for all registered political parties in Nigeria to participate in the election without any higher authority having an imposing hand over other registered parties. Because one of the things that parties are registered for is for us to be able to not only to win the election, but also to canvass, educate, and carry out public enlightenment campaign that will continue to enrich our democratic practice in Nigeria. So we members of the registered political body in Nigeria have been doing this, and we have been very effective at what we've been doing. There's no democratic platform that refuses to encourage multi-party democracy, that close the door to inclusivity, that shut the door to multiplicity of participation that has grown beyond the current status they found themselves. Because if you look at John Hinkim's report, we state that in the last election, there was incredible increase in the participation of women in election in Nigeria. In 2019, that's the report. And if that increase, going down to their own justification of for that increase, they went further to state clearly that this increase occurred because of the newly created political party that existed. All stakeholders must be able to sit down and order, look for laws that will further tighten and restrict the manipulation of our electoral system. All stakeholders, not sectional stakeholders, not one group stakeholders. But one thing that we must clear here today is that we are not just stakeholders, like the chairman of the commission has said. We are principal stakeholders in the electoral process.
As the countdown continues ahead of the polls, INEC has urged political parties to register the names of their polling unit agents to avoid issues. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
The candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, for Abia Central Senatorial District in the February 2019 polls, Chidi Ajegbu, has announced his resignation from the party. Addressing newsmen in Aba, Ajegbu said he had decided to quit partisan politics for now to pursue his humanitarian services. He attributed his decision to the lingering leadership crisis that had turned APGA into two factions at the state and national levels. He expressed dissatisfaction with events that allegedly played out in the party ahead of the 2019 polls, leading to the party's painful defeat in the hands of the People's Democratic Party in the state. He said that the outcome of the polls in Abia confirmed the allegations that some members of my party were involved in actions inimical to the progress of the party and its candidates. He said that he would engage his time and resources in pursuit of his age-long people's agenda through his foundation and Widows Cooperative initiative. Agdebu also spoke extensively on the current state of affairs in Abia and took a swipe at the Governor Okezie Ikpeazu-led administration for failing to squarely tackle the huge infrastructure deficit in the state. He also berated the PDP government for failing to address the economic and security challenges. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has given assurances that the country will be able to know the amount of imported fuel into the country in a matter of 90 days. The managing director of the Petroleum Products Marketing Company, Bala Wanti, made the statement at a plenary session during the just concluded annual national conference of the Chartered Institute of Personal Management. Wanti disclosed that the NNPC, in collaboration with the PPMC, has put together a team that will determine the data relating to the issue of fuel importation in Nigeria. The team, Wanti said, is part of the recently inaugurated Operation White, which is saddled with the task of creating real-time solutions to data gathering and other challenges which had negatively impacted the finances and image of the NNPC and its subsidiaries. Before 2015, the NNPC said fuel importation was at an average of 35 million liters daily, but present figures from the NNPC shows that fuel imports is averaging 55 million liters daily. This claim is, however, yet to be verified. The National Agricultural Seeds Council, Catholic Relief Services, and the National Root Crop Research Institute has commenced a three-day training of 18 third-party agents for cassava seeds inspection in Benue State. The inspectors are expected to assist the Seeds Council on certification of quality cassava seeds to smallholder cassava farmers. Clevy TV's Aniete Patrick was at the opening session and now brings us the details.
Declaring the training open in Makurdi, Benue State on Monday, National Agricultural Seeds Council Director General Philip Ojo said the project aims to develop a sustainable cassava seed system and production of well-trained third-party agents, which will further bolster the sustainability of the cassava seed system that NASE and other implementing partners envisage. He added that in the last 3 years, the Basics project developed a novel tool technologies like Semin's autotrophic hydroponics, technology for speeding up the propagation of clean cassava planting materials, the cassava seed tracker, which is the first of its kind anywhere in the world that will entrench efficiency and traceability in the cassava seed system, banned molecular laboratory for cassava seed diagnostics testing.
Certification is actually a very, very important part of the seed system because the quality of seed is very important. We want to assure that it's only good quality seeds that are made available to farmers. But you see, the number of seed inspectors of National Agricultural Council is so limited. Fund is actually diminished, and the global best practice is to actually outsource this to private entrepreneurs, and that's exactly what we are doing here in Nigeria. And we must do it because the hectares are expanding. We are even starting with cassava. This is just a pilot. We are starting with cassava, and we are starting here in Benue. We hope that as we go along, because this what we are doing is actually work in progress, we are going to expand to other crops because this is very important. We're not talking only about we're talking about cassava now, but we are going to take to other crops. So it's actually an apple making its history that is actually being made here in Benue today.
Also, the Basic Project Director with the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IT, Dr. Hemant Nikuta, said the training will enhance Nigerians' economic development since cassava is a major staple in the country, adding that the training of the officers will boost production and increase quality cassava seed certification for smallholder farmers, as Benue State is a pilot program that may be extended to all parts of Nigeria with the success of the project.
Cassava is very important for Nigeria, and the seed system for cassava is making a complete transformation in last 4 years with the support of NASC NRCRI, and all the stakeholders, it's completely getting transformed. And one of the transformations is needed in the way it is quality certified, because unless the quality of seed is certified, the whole ecosystem will collapse. And NASC, with the growing ambitions of across the seed industry, with many crops going on, with the ambitions for expanding to West Africa, it cannot be in everywhere all the time. So what it is following is the looking at the best practices around the world, and NASC has been very innovative in involving the stakeholders in increasing the cassava seed quality. So this particular program, we have identified some important stakeholders like the input dealers, like ADPs or the seed entrepreneurs, to see how they can be involved and trained in keeping the quality of cassava seed good. So we have identified what we are calling as NASC authorized seed inspectors. We are training them on how the seed has to be grown, how it can be regulated, how they can keep an eye on the seed producers so that they maintain the quality across the seed value chain. So this is the training program for that.
National Agricultural Seeds Council, however, warned that the officers will be closely monitored and that any agent found guilty of compromising seed quality will be made to face the full wrath of the law, adding that the council takes the quality of any crop seed seriously. Anita Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
And Senator Shehu Sani says the only way to combat the cycle of poverty presently breeding insecurity in Nigeria is through improved funding of the educational sector in Nigeria. Senator Shehu Sani stated this in Oshogbo at a press week lecture organized by Nigerian Union of Journalists, Osun State Council.
While commenting on the theme, bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, Sheikh Sani stressed that bad leadership remains the major hindrance, militating against the nation's God-given natural and economic endowments. He described the level of insecurity and deplorable condition of roads in the nation as factors aiding kidnappings and other forms of insecurity across the nation.
We don't need an intolerant executive. We don't need a sycophantic legislature. We don't need a timid judiciary. We also don't need a docile civil society. We also don't need a political class that fans the embers of ethnic and religious hatred.
In their separate remarks, the guest speaker, Akin Ogunbiri, and Chairman NUJ Osun State Council, Kehinde Ayatunji, maintained that good governance that promotes transparency and accountability is a penalty to reducing poverty and underdevelopment facing the nation.
Our leaders, when they find themselves in position of leadership, they should know that it's providence that put them there. What exactly again do you want? If you want is aspire to be a leader, and providence has put you there, discharge your duties with the fear of God and service to humanity.
As a citizen of Nigeria, you must have access to basic amenities such as quality health, quality education, security, and best infrastructure that you can have in any part of the world.
In plans by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, to commence demolition of buildings illegally built within the Muritala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, have reached an advanced stage. A source close to the agency confided in our correspondent in Lagos that FAN was working closely in collaboration with the Lagos state government to commence demolition exercise. If FAN carries out its plans, no fewer than 2,000 illegal structures at the Ajao estate and Shasha area of the airport may be affected. Investigation carried out by reveals that some of the houses at the Ajao estate and Shasha areas of the airport were built close to the runway, while hundreds of such buildings have encroached into fans' land. And the National Agency for the Control of AIDS has inaugurated its South Zonal office at Uyodi, Akwa Ibom State Capital. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, the Director General of NACA, Dr. Gambo Aliyu, said the agency's determination to carry out its campaigns to the rural areas necessitated the decentralization of its activities. He said NACA is also on the process of setting up 5 other zonal offices in Gombe, Northeast, Lagos Southwest, Abia Southeast, Nasarawa North Central, and Kano Northwest. The NACA board said this decentralization would boost campaigns at the grassroots, which will further ensure efficient service delivery and help reduce the spread of HIV by 2030. According to him, we need to have zonal arrangements to translate HIV and AIDS information to action. The Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Dominic Okwong, said the government's decision to locate the office in Uyo was an attestation to its commitment to boost quality healthcare in the state. And the remains of the only surviving wife of the late Prime Minister Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Aisha, have been laid to rest according to Muslim rights in Bauchi, northeast Nigeria. Aisha died at the age of 85 on Sunday in Lagos following a cardiac arrest. Our correspondent has borne the burial ceremony.
It was yet another sad day for the family of the late Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and the entire people of Bauchi State. Only a handful of friends and sympathizers joined family members at the airport to receive the remains of the only surviving wife of the late Prime Minister, Aisha, who died at age 85. However, to receive the body on behalf of the government was the Speaker, Bauchi State House of Assembly, Suleiman Abubakar. Thereafter, the casket containing the remains of Aisha was conveyed to the palace of the Emir of Bauchi, where the funeral prayers was conducted with several sympathizers in attendance. There were kind words for the 85-year-old Aisha, who was the second wife of the Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, who was assassinated in the January 15, 1966 military coup.
So Hajia had been the bedrock of the family. She stood by everyone, the children and the grandchildren.
I wish to commiserate with His Excellency the President, Commander-in-Chief, and need all former presidents over her death. Her death is the end of an epoch that we always look back with nostalgia, being the first republic that marked the break from colonial administration.
The late Aisha Tafawa Balewa is survived by 7 children and many grandchildren. In his condolence message, President Muhammadu Buhari had expressed his deepest sense of sorrow about the demise of Aisha Tafawa Balewa. President Buhari noted that in her sad demise, Nigeria has lost an outstanding political figure who was passionately committed to the cause of the family and the legacies of her late husband.
You're watching Clearview Television News. Up next is the foreign stories. We'll be back for that.
Hello, customer.
Food already, I think not go chop today.
Today na my cheat day.
So what do you want?
Give me 2 wraps of poundo.
Excuse me, madam. The client has just arrived and will be upstairs very soon.
All right, send him right up. Thank you. Hey, Mama, make I see that brocoto.
You know, see this one.
For red brocoto and assorted meat, we say they pop, they showcase themselves, knife for the pot. That one.
This one.
Madam, stop me now. I've been waiting there for inside this one where they look fish.
Customer novice, which one you want?
Amala, ewedu, pomo, and this brocoto.
So this brocoto we there, so they don't buy it. Customer don't buy it.
Ebora abenyo, spirit of human being.
Okay, no try am. Na my meat be that.
Internet customer. Abeg, give me brocoto. When she come, you will give am another one.
Okay, no try am.
Don't miss out on life's little pleasures. Upgrade to the super fast and reliable MTN 4G network.
Voila, collect my meat.
I'm very delighted. I'm happy to be at Clearview. Like the name implies, everything is quite clear here. I enjoy all Nigerians to continue to enjoy the very clear opportunity of broadcasting. And I said, Clearview, well done. Please keep it up. Clearview is it. Don't change that channel. Enjoy it.
You're welcome back. And on the foreign scene, South Africa's unemployment rate has risen to 29.1%, which is the highest in 11 years. The figures were announced in the capital, Pretoria, by the country's statistician general, Risenga Maluleka, from the quarterly labor force survey for the third quarter of 2019. It increased by 0.1% from the previous quarter. In the last 10 years, the unemployment rate increased by 4.6%. In the last 5 years, the unemployment rate rose by 3.7%. And the last 1 year, unemployment rose by 1.5%. The survey said 6.7 million people are unemployed and 15.5 million are not economically active. The number of unemployed people increased by 78,000 over the past quarter, while those in employment grew by only 62,000 people. This will be a blow to President Cyril Ramaphosa, whose election campaign was based around reviving the country's sluggish economic growth. And the UK looks set for a December general election after Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn announced his party was ready to fight the most radical campaign ever. Corbyn said his condition of taking a no-deal Brexit off the table had now been met after the EU agreed to extend the deadline until 31st January 2020. Prime Minister Boris Johnson can only hold an election with the support of members of parliament who have blocked it 3 times. The Prime Minister will make a fresh attempt to get their backing in Parliament later. The government bill published ahead of the Commons debate is for an early election on 12 December. But the Scottish National Party and Liberal Democrats want a 9 December poll, saying it would prevent the Prime Minister from pushing his Brexit deal through Parliament. Sources from Downing Street have hinted that a December 11 date would be accepted to get opposition parties on board, and they have agreed to put Brexit legislation on hold for now. Labour Shadow Justice Secretary Richard Brogan said Labour wanted Johnson out before Christmas, but did not confirm his party's preferred poll date. McCorbin was cheered by members of his top team as he made his first announcement at Labour's campaign headquarters in central London. The Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces say their spy stole Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's underwear, which was then DNA tested and used to prove his identity before he was killed. Senior SDF commander Polat Khan claims the assault also played a vital role in tracking down the Islamic State IS leader's location before an operation by United States Special Forces in Syria. Baghdadi killed himself while the raid lasted to avoid being captured. US President Donald Trump has downplayed the role of Kurdish forces in the death of the world's most wanted terrorist. When announcing the raid on 27 October, Trump said the Kurds provided helpful information, but added that they had not carried out a military role at all. Khan insisted the SDF played an important part in the raid in a Twitter thread posted on Monday. Khan added that the SDF had been working with the CIA to track Baghdadi since 15 May and had discovered that he was hiding in Idlib province where the raid took place. The source says Khan had found out that the leader was about to move to a new location in Jarablus. You're watching Clearview Television News. Up next is sports.
Ute. Let me give phone to Smally, make I follow her. Go.
It's Wasu, your former driver.
Hey! Matthew, the video call. Oh, Gaga.
Mommy. With my Glow 4G, I can now upload my line, sell, and make plenty profit. Guess what they call me now, mommy? The new mega line card dealer.
Wasu, right now when the iron is hot.
See, you know we won't be like Shaki. I will come and meet you specially and bring one big one for you.
Why you won't see me?
Your daughter. I want to marry her.
You know where? I've been wanting to know the
Hello?
When Glow 4G day of you, confidence must stay body. Data is oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your number one 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
Hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Ogutimei Tolulapa Ogutimei. Enugu Rangers coach Benedict Ugo has expressed frustration over the flying Antelopes 2-1 defeat to Escara of Togo at the Kenge Stadium, Lome, on Sunday. The 26-man Enugu Rangers contingent arrived Enugu from Lome Tuesday afternoon, with Ugo ruling the outcome. It was the first leg match, second preliminary round of the 2019-2020 CAF Confederation Cup. The winner over two legs will advance to the group stage of the competition. Ugo says the 2-1 scoreline is not a fair reflection of his team impact in the game, but admit frankly that it was a difficult match for both sides. Former Nigerian under-17 coach John Noble has expressed his satisfaction joining two-time Federation Cup champions Aqua United Football Club after signing a one-year contract with the Promise Keepers ahead of the 2019-2020 MPFL season. The former Kwara United coach was officially unveiled at the press conference room of the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium on Monday, hailing the management of the club as they have a better structure than the last club he managed. Also joining Aqua United technical crew for the new season is former Super Eagles Grasshopper of Switzerland and Aqua United defender Dukudi as the assistant coach. Obo's last assignment in NPFL was the Kwara United in 2018 after guiding the team to gain promotion from NNL, but was sacked due to bad run of results in the top flight. The Nigerian under-23 national team on Tuesday morning could not defeat the relegated Niger Tornadoes in a warm-up match at the Favorite Goal Project, Moshood Abiola Stadium, Abuja. The match, which was the first friendly game the Egypt-bound team played before leaving for the Nations Cup, saw both sides losing many scoring chances. Imama Makpakabo led side despite the arrival of three foreign-based players, Kelechi Wakale, Topdele Bashiru, and Aju Oji Okoko, to boost the attacking option of the team, yet they were unable to break the stubborn Tornadoes defense, who put up a decent display. However, the Nigerian under-23 team inability to score a team in the Nigerian National League worries many football fans who trooped to the pitch to watch their darling team play. Nigeria were drawn in the same group with Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, and Zambia. Nigeria side will leave the country for the 2019 under-23 African Cup of Nations on Thursday. World number 3 Roger Federer has withdrawn from this week's Paris Masters on Monday as he fine-tunes his schedule heading into the season-ending ATP Finals. The 38-year-old Swiss lifted the record-extending 10th Swiss Indoor Championship title in his hometown of Basel on Sunday and has decided not to play back-to-back this week at the stage of the season. Federer, Novak Djokovic, Rafa Nadal, Daniel Medvedev, Dominic Thiem, and Stefanos Tsitsipas have booked their places for the next month's ATP Finals, but the Paris Masters set to determine who clinches the final two spots for the London tournament. And away from that, the Minister of Youth and Sport has said no federation is beyond the sports ministry. The minister made this statement when the committee set up the Ministerial Advisory Committee presented a report before the sports minister on the outcome of what transpired in Doha. The report.
The Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dawe, has sounded a note of warning that no sport federation is bigger than the ministry. The minister, who stated this on Monday, made it clear that the ministry will not shy away from exercising its oversight on sport federation as it pushes for reforms in the sporting industry. He said the time has come for separating the problem of leadership from that of competence. Dawe was speaking at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja, while receiving the reports of the Ministerial Committee on the performance of Nigeria athletes at the recently concluded 2019 World Athletics Championship in Doha, Qatar.
When we talk about next level, this is what we mean about next level, to do things differently. And that there's no federation that is bigger than the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. We have supervisory right, we have oversight on behalf of Nigerians. We appreciate the work of federations, But we will not exchange our oversight powers over any federation where we think that a federation is going wrong. And that is all in the interest of the country, in the interest of the sport, and in the interest of even the athletes who are in the sport. We have to separate the problem of leadership from that of competence. A few federations, yes, have some leadership tussle. We're quite aware. It's in public space. A process is going on. Some have been in and out of court. We must also allow these processes to take place while we on our part try to see how we can resolve this. We're also very careful to make sure that we do not distract from the main goal. So there's an ongoing process. I've only been here 2 months and 1 week. That's 9 weeks. And I'm consulting. I've been meeting with the federations. I've met with all of them. I've met with some individually. Are we going to have committees for every single federation? No.
Samuel Adekunle reporting for Clearview Television.
And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. Hamo Gutimeyin to the Lakwa Gutimeyin.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
And that will be all. But before we go, a look at our top stories. The National Assembly is considering working with the executive arm of government to increase funding of the Nigerian military to meet its operational challenges. This indication emerged as the Army Finance Core Conference with focus on funding imperatives opened in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. Ahead of the November 16 governorship polls in Bayelsa and Kogi states, top officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) on Tuesday in Abuja held a consultative meeting with political parties. The need for a violence-free and credible poll featured prominently at the meeting. And we also told you that the Kurdish-led Syrian Defense Forces have provided more details on how the world's most wanted terrorist Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi met his Waterloo during a raid by American Special Forces. It said its spies stole all Baghdadi's underwear, which was used to identify him through a DNA test before the raid was launched. And that's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV, like us on Facebook via Clearview Television, follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, follow us on Instagram at ClearviewTV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Comsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Prudence Sokona, and thanks for watching.